Solomon Fadun, Risk Management of Everything Channel presents Business Continuity Management. Roles, Importance, Benefits and Implementation of Business Continuity Management. Welcome to the Risk Management of Everything channel. On this channel, you will see videos on risk management and the application of risk management to diverse areas and sectors. If you are new here, make sure to subscribe to our channel and press the notification button so you can be notified when we upload new videos. Thank you. This video discusses Business Continuity Management, BCM. In this video, you will understand the meaning of Business Continuity Management, BCM, the need for Business Continuity Management, how BCM works, the benefits of BCM, business drivers of BCM, business plans, components of a business continuity plan, BCM lifecycle guidelines, how to implement BCM system, the BCM process, BCM framework, business continuity metrics, business continuity checklist, organizational resilience and business enablers, enterprise risk management. ERM, the benefits of ERM, ERM strategies, ERM process, ERM risk response strategies, ERM versus BCM, how ERM and BCM work together, the reasons for the separation and the business case for the integration of BCM and ERM, strategies for linking ERM and BCM programs, and business impact analysis, BIA, the purpose of BIA, critical business activities, and BIA data collection methods. Now, let us start. What is Business Continuity Management? Business Continuity Management, BCM, is a framework for identifying organizations' risk exposures, including internal and external threats. BCM is a critical process. It enables a firm to maintain normal business operations during a disaster with minimal disruption. BCM works on the principle that sound response systems mitigate damages from theoretical events. BCM is a holistic process to identify potential threats to an organization and their impacts on its business operations and reputation. BCM describes the process of planning for disruptive incidents. Organizations undertake BCM by identifying potential threats and analyzing their impact on day-to-day operations. Effective BCM ensures that organizations can provide good service during a disaster, helping them preserve their reputation and keep revenue coming in. BCM integrates the disciplines of emergency response, crisis management, disaster recovery, and business continuity. The goal of BCM is to provide the organization with the ability to effectively respond to threats such as natural disasters or data breaches and protect the business interests of the organization. BCM includes disaster recovery, business recovery, crisis management, incident management, emergency management and contingency planning. BCM system emphasizes the importance of 1. Understanding continuity and preparedness needs and the necessity for establishing business continuity management policy and objectives. 2. Implementing and operating controls and measures for managing an organization's overall continuity risks. 3. Monitoring and reviewing the performance and effectiveness of the business continuity management system. And 4. Continual improvement based on objective measurements. The need for business continuity management. Why is the need to ensure business continuity now more significant than ever? Businesses should appreciate the need for BCM for several reasons, including 1. Rapid technology advancement. Technological growth in recent years has brought many new risks for businesses. Hence, the need for companies to embrace and implement sound BCM systems. 2. Increased reliance on telecommunications. Businesses increasingly rely on telecommunication to ensure efficient and effective operations, particularly the Internet. Many companies rely mainly on communication networks. Any disruption to telecommunication networks can result in substantial costs, depending on the nature of the business and the mode of customer interaction. Companies that rely heavily on telecommunication are susceptible to several risks, including reputation damage and IT security risk. 3. Globalization. The increasingly global nature of the business environment and the movement towards greater independence integration in the world economy presents new challenges for organizations in maintaining continuity. For example, political pressures, conflicts, and constantly changing global economic considerations impact business activities. 4. Increased supply chain risk. A byproduct of the more global nature of business and an increasing reliance upon outsourcing and offshoring has highlighted the need to manage supply chain risks. Supply chain risk is integral to business continuity planning. In a supply chain reliant environment, losing a critical supplier can devastate a company. 5. Climate change and weather-related events. Increased weather-related events have highlighted the need for BCM in the context of climate change and harsh weather conditions. 6. Impact of significant events and risks. The increase in major events and emerging risks highlighted the need for BCM. Terrorism, natural disasters, and pandemics negatively impact society and businesses. Terrorism, for example, the September 11, 2001 attack on the World Trade Center in the United States, often causes a large-scale regional disaster, resulting in substantial financial consequences that necessitate business continuity planning to enhance organizations' resilience. There is usually a need for cooperation in this type of event between businesses, government agencies and emergency services. Natural disasters, for example, the Indian Ocean tsunami, Hurricane Katrina, and the Japanese tsunami, also need to establish a resilient community and have robust national emergency planning alongside the notion of continuity from a business perspective. In addition, pandemics, for example, avian flu, Ebola, and swine flu, and the potential impact of an absentee workforce on organizations' losses, thus emphasizing the need for continuity planning. How business continuity management works. Regardless of how a company has been in business, unforeseen events, such as natural disasters, power outages, fires, or cyber attacks, can disrupt its business processes. The critical task of a BCM is to minimize the resulting damage, identify potential sources of risk in advance, and prepare a company for such crises. Business continuity planning is essentially a form of insurance. It gives organizations the comfort of knowing that, even if disaster strikes, the damage won't be overwhelming. Companies that have established a sound BCM system can stay calm and relaxed during a crisis. Such a system defines specific plans for resuming normal operations in the shortest possible time after a disruption. This way, financial and structural damage can often be significantly reduced, and existential threats to the company are avoided. In addition to concrete measures and processes, such a system also includes strategic planning to minimize a company's IT risks over the long term. BCM measures can be proactive, strategic, or reactive. In any case, BCM must be understood as an integrated concept that affects almost all company levels. Every workplace that is linked to IT in any way must be included and taken into account. The importance of BCM became clear amid the pandemic, as business leaders realized how serious they could be affected by disruptive incidents. Introducing social distancing rules meant that many organizations were forced to change how they worked, including creating remote working policies and adopting cloud technologies. For the most part, those tools have been hugely popular, to the extent that remote working is still in place despite pandemic-related restrictions easing. However, organizations won't get so lucky with other disruptions. Ransomware, for example, proved to be a significant issue in 2021. Hundreds of businesses across the globe were crippled by ransomware attacks, which encrypt organizations' files and demand payment for their release. Preventing ransomware attacks is almost impossible. Many intrusions begin with phishing emails, a threat that can be mitigated but never eradicated. In contrast, others result from weaknesses in third-party software. Organizations' best defense is effective business continuity planning. Effective business continuity management enables organizations to update, control and deploy effective plans, accounting for organizational contingencies, capabilities, and business needs. It gives employees guidelines on what to do if their normal working processes are affected, providing a comprehensive approach to organizational resilience. Business continuity can be tailored to help organizations prepare for any number of disruptions, including natural disasters, such as earthquakes and hurricanes, man-made disasters, such as road and rail disruptions, technological failures, such as corrupted files, human error, such as data exposure or a lost USB, infrastructural damage, such as a burst pipe or an electrical fire, sabotage, such as stolen files or damaged equipment, and cyber attacks, such as ransomware. The benefits of business continuity management. Implementing a BCM mainly ensures that business processes remain operational during a disruption. However, there are several benefits of BCM to business organizations. Here are some of the benefits of BCM for businesses. 1. Protect firm reputation. The public will be impressed if the company respond quickly and efficiently following a disruptive incident. This will mitigate the negative sentiments that will accompany the loss of productivity. 2. Boost employees' morale. If the system is well managed, everyone in the organization will be accounted for, proving to employees that management has considered their needs. 3. Ensure good relationship with third parties and subsidiaries. An effective BCMS demonstrates that the organization operates effectively from top to bottom, encouraging anyone the company works with. It shows that the company is a reliable partner that has considered its responsibilities to customers, employees and partners. 4. Compliance with regulatory requirements. The current cyber threat landscape has made business leaders more aware of the dangers of cyber attacks and the importance of being able to respond to and recover from such attacks. Globally, corporate governance regulations require directors to exercise reasonable care, skill and diligence to mitigate risks facing the organization. A growing body of legislation requires businesses in essential areas to implement adequate business continuity arrangements. Business drivers of business continuity management. A business driver is a measurable resource that drives a business performance to achieve maximum profits. Regulatory and legislative compliance are the leading drivers for business continuity planning. For a publicly listed company, compliance satisfies stock exchanges. It eases the anxiety of investors, bringing more capital into the business. Here are some business drivers of business continuity management. 1. Survival. The prime driver of business continuity management is survival. One of the prominent roles of BCM is to plan to ensure survival in the event of a disaster. After a disaster, most organizations' priority is to provide the company is not so severely affected that it has to close its business. Having a good, tried and tested BCP in place can often make the difference between survival or not. 2. Regulatory and legislative compliance. Regulations are a set of controls placed on an organization, legislation, and internal controls. Maintaining compliance helps businesses find favor with regulators and authorities, keeping investors happy and sometimes bringing financial and competitive advantages. No legislation relates explicitly to many countries' private organizations and business continuity management. When examining the relationship between legislation and BCM, the focus is on policies within an organization's environment. Two main areas of legislation necessary for organizations are employment law and health and safety law. Organizations are also subject to several other legislative requirements, for example, the Data Protection Act and discrimination laws. 3. Financial and reputational factors. Companies increasingly recognize the need to protect their reputational assets and manage the associated risks. Reputation risk affects an organization's culture and values and is often seen as one of the more common risks. There are progressively more factors that affect reputation, such as heightened public sensitivity to corporate responsibility, media scrutiny and increasing stakeholder demands for transparency. Hence, managing reputation has become a key priority for many organizations. A plan to minimize negative impacts on brand image and business profitability is necessary. 4. Corporate governance. Corporate governance is a primary external driver of BCM. Corporate governance is all about managing risks. Good corporate governance involves establishing security, transparency, equity, compliance, reliance and accountability principles. The board of directors is responsible for creating a framework for corporate governance that best aligns business conduct with corporate objectives. Corporate governance ensures sound risk management within an organization. All businesses must take risks to earn revenue, but the board's responsibility is to manage that risk. The Corporate Governance Code in most countries clearly states that the board is responsible for determining the nature and extent of the organization's risks. In most countries, corporate governance practices are developed with risk management as a priority. Corporate governance breakdown is often caused by poor organizational risk management. A clear understanding of business strategies, associated risks, and returns are necessary for risk governance. The risks associated with business activities should be made transparent to the stakeholders. Appropriate risk appetite should be set for the firm, and the board should oversee the organizational operations and strategy formulation process. Integrating risk management into a company's planning is beneficial to ensure that a firm's risks are identified and adequately managed in the context of the firm's risk appetite. 5. Business resilience. Resilience is the ability of an organization to envisage critical events from emerging trends, continuous adaptation to changes, and speedy recovery from disaster. A resilient organization is a firm that can achieve its objectives and maximize its opportunities, regardless of business interruption and untoward events. Depending on the ownership and cash reserve, when a business is resilient, it is less likely to lead to bankruptcy due to a disaster. Organizational resilience is discussed later in this video. 6. Customers. Retaining customers is one of the main objectives for an organization during a crisis. Ensuring continuity of supply, quality products and services, and reasonable cost are important customer considerations. This also relates to reputation management, which is integral in retaining old and gaining new customers. The company can reduce the risk of losing customers by reducing reputational damage. Businesses want to remain up and running after a disaster. Suppose they have a good continuity plan in place. In that case, they are less likely to close for extended periods or will have alternative measures in place. As a result, they will retain customers. 7. Capacity to survive a disaster and restore the business to normalcy. When a disaster occurs, a company wants to get through hardship, ensure the critical services of the industry continue and then eventually restore the business to its previous state. 8. Employees. People are the greatest asset in any company. Hence, employees' well-being and safety are essential during BCM planning. 9. Business process optimization. Preparing a continuity plan helps corporate strategists to optimize resources, eliminate weaknesses and increase resiliency. Developing a business continuity plan inevitably leads to discovering organizational processes, interdependencies, resource requirements and single points of failure. 10. Business impacts. Businesses need to understand quantitative and qualitative effects on their business through a business impact analysis. This assists them in improving processes that are critical financially and otherwise. Sometimes, conducting a business impact analysis helps companies realize their potential breaking point before a disaster, giving them a much-needed lifeline ahead of time. 11. Competitive advantage. An organization can advertise their business continuity planning process to potential customers as a benefit. Certification does bring with it additional costs and requires a resource commitment. Hence, organizations must weigh the advantages that certification would get with the price. Demonstrating that a company takes continuity seriously improves consumer confidence and reputation, creating a competitive advantage. The business drivers discussed are generic and apply to most businesses. Each business must ask its stakeholders, especially those responsible for organizational resiliency, executives and owners, about their expectations and then appropriately tailor the business continuity plan. Now you understood the business drivers of business continuity management. Let us explain types of business plans. Business plans. There are several types of business plans. Here are 5 primary types of business plans. 1. Crisis management or incident management plan. A crisis management plan, also known as an incident management plan, provides a structured response to a disruption that, if poorly managed, will result in unacceptable consequences for the organization. These plans offer steps and considerations for the organization's strategic response to a disruption. 2. Crisis communications plan. A crisis communication plan supplements crisis management activities by coordinating two-way communications with internal and external stakeholders. 3. Emergency response plan. An emergency response plan is typically written for a location. It focuses on ensuring a safe work environment and the protection/preservation of life. These plans may include different sets of procedures for various threats. 4. Information Technology, IT, Disaster Recovery Plan. IT Disaster Recovery Plan is an information technology plan that focuses on recovering IT systems, data, and telecommunication assets. 5. Business Continuity, Recovery Plan. A business continuity or business recovery plan focuses on the continuation and/or recovery of business activities and resources that support the delivery of products and services. A business continuity plan is necessary to ensure sound business continuity management. A business continuity plan typically includes procedures, manual workarounds, and alternate procedures addressing the loss of the workplace, equipment, people, technology and suppliers. A business continuity plan is relevant in the context of this video, which discusses business continuity management. Hence, it is necessary to examine components of a business continuity plan. Components of a business continuity plan. A robust business continuity plan means that a business is more likely to react confidently and quickly during a disruption. This can help ensure customer satisfaction, improve team confidence, and reduce recovery. To achieve this, every business continuity plan must include 5 essential elements. Here are the 5 critical components of a business continuity plan. 1. Risks and potential business impact. A business continuity plan can be enhanced through a business impact analysis to identify potential risks and vulnerabilities within and outside a company. These risks could be anything from flooding or a significant IT disruption to a failure from a critical supplier. Having identified a company's risk exposures, the firm can begin to take steps to prevent or mitigate the risk. A strong plan will also use the output of the business impact analysis to reveal the possible consequences of disruption on the business. This will enable the company to anticipate its cost, the effect it could have on essential business functions and the time needed to recover. 2. Planning an effective response. Once a company is aware of its risks and threats, it can begin to form an effective plan. A comprehensive business continuity plan will take each hazard identified in the business impact analysis and develop an appropriate response strategy to minimize or prevent it altogether. These detailed plans will describe the action needed and outline who needs to be involved in implementing it. Timescales and resources, such as laptops, alternative warehouse space and mobile phones, should also be laid out to ensure a quick and relevant response. 3. Roles and responsibilities. For a crisis or disruption to be met confidently, the critical people in a company should know their roles and responsibilities. A business continuity plan will document which key personnel need to be involved in response to the disruption. This will typically be more senior staff members, but this depends on the business and the type of company's potential risks. Once these people have been identified, their roles and actions need to be clearly defined to react quickly and efficiently. The resources they need following a disruption should also be clearly stated so they can be prioritized ahead of the rest of the team. For instance, if a remote office needs to be set up following a disruption, critical personnel will need to be prioritized when allocating resources such as laptops, tablets and mobile phones. 4. Communication. Clear communication is vital during business disruptions. Effective communication across a business can reassure team members and give them confidence that the organization is taking practical steps to respond and recover. Good communication is also necessary outside the company to liaise with suppliers and customers and minimize dissatisfaction. In larger organizations, it may be necessary to have a separate communication plan that provides a comprehensive approach to communication during a crisis. A business continuity plan must include a list of key contacts, pre-prepared press releases and social media posts to prepare for this. These in advance can speed up communication in a crisis and ensure that staff and external connections are kept up to speed. 5. Testing and training. Business continuity plans are not just theoretical, they need to be robust enough to be implemented. To check this, the final key component of a business continuity plan is testing and exercising. Realistic scenarios can test the plan and the team's response. By doing so, the company can identify room for improvement and take action to improve the program before a disruption occurs. Testing and exercising business continuity plans also helps to ensure that key personnel understand the strategy and their role in it. This means the company can respond quickly and efficiently when a disruption occurs. Many companies run regular awareness training sessions and include business continuity as a critical aspect during new staff inductions. This type of training can improve the overall resilience of the company. Raising awareness of the business continuity plan among the more comprehensive staff will also help them to understand their role in responding to disruptions. Business continuity management lifecycle. What does business continuity management look like? BCM should cover the entire enterprise to enhance a firm's resilience. BCM should be integrated into the risk management lifecycle. BCM lifecycle consists of a 10-step process. Here are the steps of a BCM lifecycle. 1. Oversee and implement resilience, continuity and response capabilities. 2. Align business continuity management elements with strategic goals and objectives. 3. Develop a business impact analysis to identify critical functions, analyze interdependencies, and assess impacts. 4. Conduct a risk assessment to identify risks and evaluate the likelihood and impact of disruptions. 5. Develop effective strategies to meet resilience and recovery objectives. 6. Establish a business continuity plan that includes incident response, disaster recovery, and crisis/emergency management. 7. Implement a business continuity training program for personnel and other stakeholders. 8. Conduct exercises and tests to verify that procedures support established objectives. 9. Review and update the business continuity program to reflect the current environment, and 10. Monitor and report business resilience activities. Next, let us discuss BCM lifecycle guidelines. Business Continuity Management, BCM, Lifecycle Guidelines. A well-thought-out business continuity management, BCM, plan is the answer which will help to keep a company moving in such unforeseen circumstances. Basically, the business continuity management lifecycle has 6 phases to it: program management, understanding the organization, determining the BCM strategy, developing and implementing a BCM response, exercising the response, as well as maintaining, reviewing and embedding BCM in the organization's culture. Awareness and training should happen at each and every stage. Here are the 6 steps of a business continuity management lifecycle. Step 1, Top Management Commitment. The first step in a business continuity management lifecycle is to get the top management's commitment. BCM policy must be created to ensure effective implementation of the BCM system within the organization. Step 2. Communicate business continuity management policy. The next step in the business continuity management lifecycle is communicating this policy to all critical stakeholders, including vendors and outsourced parties. Step 3. Identify who is responsible for implementing BCM policy. Identify a BCM sponsor with authority to implement business continuity management per the policy. They can create a team and develop a framework which covers activities identified under the BCM software's scope. For BCM service, essential products and services should be placed. Additionally, the BCM objective should be aligned with the organizational objective. This should include the acceptable level of risk and legal, regulatory and contractual obligations to meet the stakeholders' interests. Step 4. Analyze basic impacts of critical functions. The next step in the business continuity management lifecycle is to analyze the fundamental impact to identify critical functions under the scope of BCM and carry out a risk assessment of those vital functions. After this, depending on the results, the company must look at alternative responses and recovery strategies. This should be followed by implementing an incident management plan with an incident response structure. This should be followed by business and disaster recovery plans. Implementing these plans is the next phase. Step 5. Update the plans to eliminate gaps. After implementing all the above plans, create an exercise program to cover different strategies in line with the plan's objectives, review the program, and ascertain their limitations or gaps. Update plans based on perceived deficiencies. Step 6. Implement and monitor plans. The next step in the business continuity management lifecycle is to carry out the plan do check act cycle. This includes managing the program through periodic management reviews, internal audits and self-assessments, embedding the BCM culture, carrying out preventive and corrective actions to show continual improvement. In today's competitive economy, customers are becoming increasingly intolerant of lapses in service. As more business gets outsourced to other countries, organizations which continue to deliver services at the agreed levels, that is, continuity, and without fail, that is, repeatability, will continue to thrive. Following the business continuity management lifecycle is a sure-shot solution for organizations to continue delivering their essential products and services during and after a disaster. How to implement a business continuity management system. A BCM system consists of 6 elements. The 6 interrelated elements must be considered when implementing BCM in a company. Here are the 6 aspects of a BCM system. 1. BCM policy and governance. The objective of a BCM policy is to set up a BCM framework to define the necessary functions, tasks, and responsibilities, governance. In this way, everyone knows what to do should a crisis occur. 2. Business impact analysis. It starts with a comprehensive analysis of all significant risks and business processes using a business impact analysis, BIA. This will help identify business processes based on internal evaluation criteria and classify them by criticality factor. The complete failure of a business process is assumed, and it is determined when this failure becomes critical for the company as a whole. It is then decided whether these business processes are critical enough to be safeguarded via a contingency plan. Business impact analysis, BIA, is discussed later in this video. 3. Contingency plan. This can primarily be answered by asking, what is needed to ensure that a business operation is effective? The resources required for the 5 phases of the restart are identified. These phases are named as follows: immediate measures, restart emergency operation, restoration of regular operation, and post-processing. Based on a classic cost-benefit analysis, contingency plans are developed for the individual process phases to be safeguarded. These are highly individual and must be reassessed and redefined from company to company. 4. Crisis management. In the event of a crisis, preventive measures are needed to be able to survive as a company. Functioning, non-hierarchical internal crisis communication, in particular, is indispensable. This includes defining roles and responsibilities in the event of a crisis and implementing alert and crisis communication channels to control and monitor the situation. 5. Tests and exercises. Regular tests and contingency exercises must be planned and carried out to check the effectiveness of individual and interdisciplinary measures and contingency plans, similar to internal audits. 6. Continuous improvement. The results obtained through regular reviews are incorporated into the existing management system to continuously improve it. Having considered the elements of the BCM system, let us discuss the business continuity management process. The business continuity management process. Effective business continuity management, BCM, is a significant risk management activity. BCM improves the resiliency of organization activities. Here are the 5 phases of a BCM process, as shown in this figure. Insert the BCM process figures here. Phase 1, understanding your organization. Phase 2, defining your business continuity, BC, strategy. Phase 3, choosing and implementing business continuity, BC, solutions. Phase 4, testing, maintaining, and reviewing business continuity, BC, arrangements. Phase 5, developing business continuity culture, BCC. Let us explain the 5 phases of the BCM process. Phase 1, understanding your organization. The first phase of the BCM process is dedicated to understanding your organization. It is necessary to understand what the business does and how it is done in BCM. As this cycle is iterative, it determines the success of the entire BCM process. The first phase of the BCM process is to understand the organization. The purpose of the first phase is to identify vital information on the impacts of disruptions of each activity to assess the process and the level of criticality per activity. This phase includes 3 successive stages. The description of activities, the business impact analysis, BIA, and the assessment of the criticality level. Phase 2, defining your business continuity strategy. The definition of your business continuity strategy constitutes the second phase of the BCM process. It is a phase of decision-making and determining objectives in terms of recovery. This second phase includes 3 successive stages. The selection of the activities to be recovered is a priority. The definition of business continuity objectives, and the entity's expression of requirements in terms of business continuity. The final version of the business continuity strategy results from iterations between the present phase, Phase 2, defining your business continuity strategy, and the following one, Phase 3, choosing and implementing solutions. However, it is crucial to maintain the decisions between these 2 phases to decorrelate the setting of objectives and constraints specific to solutions. This is because the requirements for BC must not depend on the investment required to finance a solution. Therefore, solutions should support the strategy, not the reverse. The question of solutions, choice and implementation, is not addressed in this stage, but the solution strategy falls under the third phase of the BCM process. Phase 3, choosing and implementing business continuity solutions. The third phase of the BCM process is dedicated to implementing BC arrangements. After an analysis phase, Phase 1, and a decision-making phase, Phase 2, comes the operational phase. The third phase of a BCM process involves 4 stages. The consideration of reference scenarios and their application according to the specifics of the structure in question. The choice of solutions. Purchasing and contract agreement solutions, and documenting the solutions by preparing a BCP. The result of this phase is the implementation of business continuity arrangements. These arrangements must be operational and sufficiently flexible to allow the entity to avert, or cope with, an interruption to activity caused by an incident impacting its resources. When activated, these arrangements must meet the objectives set out in the business continuity strategy. Phase 4, testing, maintaining, and reviewing business continuity arrangements. In contrast to the previous phases, there is no chronological order between the organization of tests or exercises and the maintenance and revision of the arrangements. Once the BCM process has been introduced, tests, activities, and maintenance are carried out simultaneously throughout the year. Phase 4 of the BCM process is structured around 3 themes. Carrying out tests or exercises to validate the operational character of solutions. Maintenance of the BC arrangements, and revision of the BC arrangements. The 4th phase of BCM helps the entity ensure that the business continuity solutions are operational and that the BC arrangements are maintained and reviewed. The solutions are one of the components of the business continuity arrangements. Phase 5, Developing Business Continuity Culture. Developing business continuity culture primarily consists of gradually changing attitudes. It is necessary to increase awareness with those directly involved in applying the BCM process and all across the staff population. For this, there are 2 strategies, raising awareness and training. An organization need to develop a sound business continuity culture to facilitate the application of the BCM program. Improve staff responsiveness and participation in business continuity planning. Ensure that business continuity is integrated into all aspects of the company's activities, and make business continuity part of the criteria in decision-making at all levels. Consequently, Phase 5 of the BCM process involves the development of a business continuity culture in 3 successive stages. 1. Assessment of the current awareness concerning the defined objective. 2. The design and implementation of an awareness campaign and a training program, and 3. An assessment of the attainment of objectives and the follow-up of awareness. Having explained the BCM process, let us discuss the Business Continuity Management Framework. Business Continuity Management Framework. The Business Continuity Management (BCM) framework entails the planning process for developing plans and procedures to enable organizations to respond promptly to unpleasant events. Here are the essential aspects of the BCM framework. 1. Policies and strategies. Continuity management is about more than reacting to a natural disaster or cyber attack. It begins with the policies and procedures developed, tested, and used when an incident occurs. The policy defines the program scope, key parties, and management structure. It needs to articulate why business continuity is necessary, and governance is critical in this phase. Governance provides clarity in what can be a chaotic time for all involved. One component is knowing who is responsible for creating and modifying a business continuity plan checklist. The other is identifying the team responsible for implementation. The scope is also crucial. It defines what business continuity means for the organization. Businesses need to be clear about what is covered by a plan. Is it about keeping applications operational, products and services available, data accessible, or physical locations and people safe? Roles and responsibilities need to be assigned during this phase. These may be prominent roles based on job function, or specific, given the type of disruption that may be experienced. The policy, governance, scope, and positions must be broadly communicated and supported in all cases. 2. Business Impact Assessment. The impact assessment is a cataloging process to identify the company's data, where it is stored, how it is collected, and how it is accessed. It determines which of those data are most critical and the amount of downtime acceptable should that data or apps be unavailable. At this stage, the company needs to calculate its recovery time objective. The recovery time objective is the maximum time it would take to restore operations to a functional state after a sudden loss of service. BCM framework is also when companies should know the recovery point objective, which is the age of data that would be acceptable for customers and the company to resume operations. It can also be thought of as the data loss acceptability factor. 3. Risk assessment. Risk comes in many forms. A business impact analysis, BIA, and a threat and risk assessment should be performed. Threats can include bad actors, internal players, competitors, market conditions, political matters, domestic and international, and natural occurrences. A vital business plan component is creating a risk assessment that identifies potential threats to the enterprise. Identifying potential threats is the first step and can be far-reaching. The risk assessment identifies the broad array of risks that could impact the enterprise. This includes 1. The impact of personnel loss, 2. Changes in consumer or customer preferences, 3. Internal agility and ability to respond to security incidents with a plan, and 4. Financial volatility. Regulated companies need to factor in the risk of non-compliance, which can result in hefty financial penalties and fines, increased agency scrutiny and the loss of standing, certification, or credibility. Each risk should be well articulated and assessed. In the next phase, the organization needs to determine the probability of each risk happening and the potential impact of each one. Likelihood and potential are vital measures when it comes to risk assessment. What are the most urgent and critical issues that should be addressed? Potential solutions must be identified, evaluated, and priced at this phase. After identifying and ranking, the organization needs to determine its risk tolerance for each potentiality. The organization needs to prioritize risks appropriately with this information, including probability and cost. The ranked risks then need to be evaluated as to which risks will be addressed first. Note that this process is not static. It needs to be regularly discussed to identify new threats that emerge as technologies, geopolitics, and competition evolves. 4. Validation and testing. The risks and their impacts must be continuously monitored, measured and tested. Once mitigation plans are in place, those also should be assessed to ensure they are working correctly and cohesively. 5. Incident identification. With business continuity, defining what constitutes an incident is essential. Events should be clearly described in policy documents, as should who or what can trigger an incident has occurred. These triggering actions should prompt the business continuity plan's deployment and bring the team into action. 6. Disaster recovery. What is the difference between business continuity and disaster recovery? The former is the overarching plans that guide operations and establish policy. Disaster recovery is what happens when an incident occurs. Disaster recovery is the deployment of the teams and actions that are sprung. The net results of the work done to identify and remediate risks. Disaster recovery is about specific incident responses, as opposed to broader planning. After an incident, one fundamental task is debriefing, assessing responses, and revising plans accordingly. 7. Roles of communication in business continuity management. Communication is an essential component of managing business continuity. Crisis communication is one component, ensuring transparent communication processes with customers, consumers, employees, senior-level staff, and stakeholders. Consistent communication strategies are essential during and after an incident. Messaging must be consistent, accurate, and coming from a unified corporate voice. Crisis management involves many layers of communication, including the creation of tools to indicate progress, critical needs, and issues. The types of communication may vary across constituencies but should be based on the same sources of information. 8. Resilience and reputation management. The risks of not having a business continuity plan are significant. The absence of preparation means the company is ill-prepared to address pressing issues. These risks can leave a company flat-footed and can lead to other significant problems, including downtime for cloud-based servers, systems, and applications. Even minutes of downtime can result in the loss of substantial revenue. Credibility loss to reputation and brand identity. Widespread, consistent, or frequent downtime can erode the confidence of customers and consumers. Customer retention can plummet. Regulatory compliance can be at risk in financial services, healthcare, and energy industries. The consequences are severe if systems and data are not operational and accessible. Now, let us discuss business continuity metrics. Business continuity metrics. Metrics are a way to measure the completion of tasks within a business continuity program and show resilience capabilities. There are two business continuity metrics: activity and compliance metrics, and product and service metrics. Let us discuss these two metrics. 1. Activity and compliance metrics. Activity and compliance metrics answer the question, are we doing the right things to prepare? These are straightforward metrics and usually ensure that program deliverables and outcomes are on track and consistent with expectations. Some organizations refer to this metric as a key performance indicator, KPI. Activity and compliance metrics track the completion of key deliverables in the business continuity lifecycle. These metrics can include the number of business impact analyses, BIAs, updated, the number of business continuity plans updated, or the number of exercises completed. By tracking the completion of activities, the programmed manager can monitor the company's progress based on regulatory standards to determine if the business continuity planning process is effective. The typical audience for activity and compliance metrics are participants in the business continuity planning process, the program sponsor, and the business continuity steering committee. 2. Product and service metrics. Product and service metrics answer the question, are we really prepared? These metrics help program leadership focus on evaluating the company's ability to continue or recover time-sensitive activities and resources that contribute to the delivery of products and services. Some organizations refer to this metric as a key risk indicator, KRI. Product and service metrics are critical in summarizing for executive leadership the organization's ability to continue or recover products and services and communicating program gaps and risks. A programmed manager must show the organization's confidence in continuity and recovery capabilities to inform the leadership capabilities. Having metrics that convey current capabilities concerning risk tolerance allows executives to prioritize risk mitigation for the program's future. Metrics help to measure the completion of business tasks and resilience capabilities. The typical audience for product and service metrics is the executive leadership team, including the board of directors, the program sponsor, and the business continuity steering committee. A business continuity checklist can be used to determine the appropriate business continuity metrics for a business. Let us discuss the business continuity checklist. Business continuity checklist. A successful business continuity plan is prepared based on the understanding of the impact of a disaster situation on a business. Each company's disaster recovery strategies vary depending on its size, nature of business, geographical location, organization's structure, system, environment, and severity of the potential business disruption. Here are the step-by-step guides for preparing a business continuity plan, BCP. 1. Assemble the planning team. Implementing a BCP plan certainly requires a dedicated team. Teams should be built with hierarchy in mind, with specific roles and recovery tasks assigned to staff members accountable for each. 2. Drawing up the BCP plan. Mapping out a strategy is one of the most essential components of a business continuity plan. The plan should be clearly understood, with goals set accordingly. A company should use this opportunity to identify the key processes and the people who will keep it running. To draw up the plan, companies need to list all the disruptions that could affect the company's operations. Pinpoint critical functions in everyday business processes and formulate practical recovery strategies for each possible disaster scenario. 3. Conduct business impact analysis. After identifying all the potential threats, they should be thoroughly analyzed. A proper business impact analysis, BIA, should be in place. Depending on the company's setup and location, extensive lists may need to be prepared. The list includes floods, hurricanes, fires, volcanoes, and tsunamis. Apart from the above natural disasters, others have a much higher probability of occurring. These can include cyber attacks, downtime due to power outages, data corruption, system failures, hardware faults, and other malicious threats to data security. 4. Educate and train. Handling business continuity requires knowledge beyond that of IT professionals and those with cybersecurity proficiency. Companies at the upper management level must highlight the plan's objectives, requirements, and critical components before the whole team. Develop a comprehensive training program to help the team develop the required skills. 5. Isolate sensitive information. Store data according to priority based on the importance of the data to the business. Every business works with critical data allocated with the topmost security priority. Such data can spell the end for a company or organization when compromised or leaked. Data, such as financial records and other mission-critical information, such as user login credentials, require storage where recovery is convenient and easy. 6. Data backup. Every company has some critical data which is irreplaceable. Hence, every recovery or backup plan should include copies of anything that is not replaceable. In the case of managed service providers, MSP, this includes files, data on customer and employee records, and business emails. The plan should facilitate quick recovery so businesses can recover tomorrow from any disaster that occurs today. 7. Protect hard copy data. Electronic or digital data is the main focus of modern IT security strategies. There is still an enormous volume of physical documents that businesses need to maintain daily. For example, a typical MSP involves working with an assortment of tax documents, contracts, and employee files, which are as important as the data saved on hard drives. Convert documents that can be digitized to minimize the loss of physical copies. 8. Designate a recovery site. Disasters have the potential to wipe out a company's data center altogether. Companies should prepare for the worst by designating a secondary site which would act as a backup for the primary site. The second site should be equipped with the required tools and systems to recover affected systems to ensure that the business processes continue. 9. Set up a communications program. Communication within the company is vital in times of crisis. Companies should consider drafting sample messages in advance to expedite communications to suppliers and partners in times of crisis. Business continuity teams can use a detailed communication plan to coordinate their efforts efficiently. 10. Test, measure, and update the program. Every vital business program should be tested and measured for effectiveness, and business continuity plans are no exception. Testing should include running simulations to test the team's level of preparedness during a crisis. Based on the results, additional modifications and tweaks can be made. Sound BCM helps build organizational resilience, hence the need to discuss organizational resilience. Organizational resilience. Business continuity planning evolves from crisis management. Organizational resilience is broader than business continuity planning. Business continuity planning is a vital aspect of BCM. BCM focuses mainly on the speedy recovery of organization operations after a disaster or an untoward event. Organizational resilience consists of a broader scope of organization activities and market operations, including its supply and distribution chains, investors, brands and customers. This indicates that BCM constitutes an essential part of organizational resilience, hence, BCM plays a vital role in building organizational resilience. There are 4 main types of resilience: individual, community, corporate, and sectoral resiliencies. Resilience is the ability of an organization to envisage critical events from emerging trends, continuous adaptation to changes, and speedy recovery from disaster. A resilient organization is a firm that can achieve its objectives and maximize its opportunities, regardless of business interruption and untoward events. In essence, a resilient organization is a firm with the capabilities to envisage and foresee events that are likely to take place which may have detrimental impacts on the organization's activities and operations. Resilient organizations are learning firms committed to managing critical situations and emerging trends to ensure the quick recovery of essential activities of business after unfavorable events. Organizational resilience is vital because the business environment in which organizations operate is dynamic, hence, the need for firms to build organizational resilience to ensure continual existence and growth. Moreover, modern-day companies are impacted by socio-political issues, emerging risks, technology advancement, environmental factors, political instability, global financial crisis, sectoral reformation, and large-scale mergers and acquisitions. Having understood organizational resilience, let us discuss organizational resilience and business enablers. Organizational resilience and business enablers. Resilient companies can manage their risks holistically, reduce dependency on a single resource, and respond promptly to untoward incidents. Moreover, a study by Hurrell, 2014, demonstrated that resilient companies succeed and highlighted 5 principles of resilience, outcomes of resilience, and their business enablers, as shown in this figure. According to Hurrell, 2014, the 5 principles of resilience are risk radar, resources and assets, relationships and networks, rapid response, and review and adaptation, as shown in this figure. Resilience reflects 4 major business enablers of organizations: leadership and governance, people and culture, structure and strategy, tactics and operations. Furthermore, organizational resilience arises from the combination of culture, attitude, process and framework. A firm's resilience can be measured based on the capability of an organization to absorb shock due to situational awareness, management of vulnerability and adaptive capacity. Building a resilient organizational culture is essential for organizations' survival and reduced business interruption. Resilient organizations are innovative, value customers, offer good after-sales services, and invest in their leaders and workforce. Hence, resilient organizations have certain resiliency traits. Considering the importance of organizational resilience, it is beneficial for organizations to build and measure the resilience of their firm's operations. Moreover, measurement and evaluation of organizational resilience can impact organizations in 4 significant ways: 1. Demonstrating progress toward organizational resilience; 2. Promoting valuable indicators of resilience; 3. Improving organizations' competitiveness; and 4. Demonstrating justification for resilience investment. Moreover, a successful business continuity management program is measured by organizational resilience. Consequently, BCM constitutes an essential aspect of organizational resilience, which indicates that BCM plays a vital role in building organizational resilience. Having explained BCM and its features, it is necessary to consider this question: what is the difference between enterprise risk management, ERM, and business continuity management, BCM? Before discussing the difference between ERM and BCM, let us explain enterprise risk management, ERM. What is enterprise risk management? Enterprise risk management, ERM, is a holistic framework for managing organizational risk. Organizational risk is a broad term. It can encompass concerns ranging from ensuring employee safety and securing sensitive data to meeting statutory regulations and stopping financial fraud. Risk can be internal, such as equipment malfunctions, or external, such as natural disasters. Risk varies from one organization to another. The fundamental elements of ERM are the assessment of significant risks and the implementation of suitable risk responses. Risk responses include acceptance or tolerance of risk, avoidance or termination of risk, risk transfer or sharing via insurance, a joint venture, and other arrangements, and reduction or mitigation of risk via internal control procedures or other risk prevention activities. Other important ERM concepts include the risk philosophy or strategy, risk culture and risk appetite. These are expressions of the attitude to risk in the organization and the amount of risk the organization is willing to take. These are essential elements of governance responsibility. Management responsibilities include the risk architecture or infrastructure, documentation of procedures or risk management protocols, training, monitoring, and reporting on risks and risk management activities. The reality is that companies think why are implementing ERM but are not. ERM adds limited value in its immature state because it often leaves management with a list of risks and little insight into what to do next. ERM may increase risk awareness with management, the board of directors, and others in various forms. However, it will not effectively drive decisions because it is not well integrated with the enterprise's decision-making processes. As a result, risk is often an afterthought to strategy and risk management is an appendage to performance management. Companies can also accomplish many governance-related tasks by applying ERM with other operational elements in the current business environment. Benefits of enterprise risk management. No risk management process can create a risk-free environment. Rather, enterprise risk management enables management to operate more effectively in a business environment filled with fluctuating risks. There are three significant benefits of ERM: improved business performance, increased organizational effectiveness, and better risk reporting. Enterprise risk management provides enhanced capability to 1. Align risk appetite and strategy. Risk appetite is the degree of risk, on a broad-based level, that a business is willing to accept in pursuit of its objectives. Management first considers the business's risk appetite in evaluating strategic alternatives and setting boundaries for downside risk. 2. Minimize operational threats and losses. A company needs to enhance its value by identifying potential risks, assessing risks and establishing response plans to reduce unpleasant events. 3. Enhance risk response decisions. ERM provides the rigor to identify and select alternative risk responses, including risk avoidance, reduction, transfer, and acceptance. 4. Resources. A clear understanding of a business's risks can enhance the effective direction and use of management time and the business's resources to manage risk. 5. Identify and manage cross-enterprise risks. Every business faces risks affecting different parts of the organization. The benefits of enterprise risk management are only optimized when an enterprise-wide approach is adopted, integrating the disparate systems to risk management within a company. Integration can be effected in three ways: centralized risk reporting, the integration of risk transfer strategies, and the integration of risk management into the business processes of a business. Rather than purely a defensive mechanism, it can maximize opportunities. 6. Link growth, risk, and return. Businesses accept risk as part of wealth creation and preservation and expect returns commensurate with risk. ERM provides an enhanced ability to identify and assess risks and establish acceptable levels of risk relative to potential growth and achievement of objectives. 7. Rationalize capital. More robust information on risk exposure allows management to assess overall worth needs more effectively and improve capital allocation. 8. Maximize opportunities. Identifying risks can stimulate thinking and generate opportunities and threats. Responses need to be developed to seize these opportunities in the same way that responses are required to address identified threats to a business. Enterprise risk management strategy. An ERM strategy can provide answers to three basic business questions. 1. Should we do it, aligned with business strategy, risk appetite, culture, values, and ethics? 2. Can we do it, people, processes, structure, and technology capabilities? 3. Did we do it, assessment of expected results, continuous learning, and a robust system of checks and balances? The ERM framework is essential regardless of the institution's size or how it wishes to categorize its risks. ERM framework will assist companies' management and boards of directors in managing risks of their organizations effectively. Sound ERM framework must address a firm's critical risk management questions. ERM framework will help management and boards of directors answer the following 8 crucial business questions. 1. What are our business strategy and associated risks, coverage? 2. How much risk are we willing to take, risk appetite? 3. How do we govern risk-taking, culture, governance, and policies? 4. How do we capture the information we need to manage these risks, risk data and infrastructure? 5. How do we control the risks with the controlled environment? 6. How do we know the size of the various risks, measurement and evaluation? 7. What are we doing about these risks, response? 8. What possible scenarios could hurt us, and how are various risks interrelated, stress testing? These 8 questions aim to integrate critical competencies into an organization's ERM framework. The Enterprise Risk Management Process. Enterprise Risk Management, ERM, consists of 5 steps. Here are the 5 steps involved in the ERM process. 1. Identifying the risk. Identifying risks in the operating environment and pinpoint threats to which the organization is exposed. Documentation of such information is recorded through the system and given access to key stakeholders. 2. Analysis of risk. The scope of the risk should be established before analyzing the connectivity between these threats with the different internal factors of the organization. A thorough assessment of risk severity and its impact on business functionalities. 3. Ranking of risk. Risk evaluation is based on enterprise prioritization. Assembling threat levels as per their effect on an organization ensures that crucial stakeholders know for which risk they should intervene immediately. 4. Treating the risk. In the risk management framework, proper action plans are formed through the system. During this period, risks and their possible resolving functions are discussed. Every personnel gets a direct update from the system. 5. Monitoring risk. This entails monitoring risks through the organization's risk management framework for ensuring effective business continuity. Enterprise Risk Management Risk Response Strategies. Organizations can use the following 5 risk response strategies to manage their risks. 1. Risk avoidance. This entails eliminating risks or activities that can negatively impact the organization's assets. For example, the cancellation or stoppage of a proposed production or product line. 2. Risk reduction. This entails mitigation or limitation of the severity of losses. For example, management can plan frequent visits to their major suppliers to identify potential problems early. 3. Risk transfer. This entails transferring of risks to third parties, including insurance companies and other third parties. 4. Risk retention. This entails acknowledging the identified risks and being willing to accept their consequences. Any loss from a chance not covered or avoided is an example of risk acceptance. 5. Risk sharing involves accepting the risk and collaborating with others to share responsibility for risky activities. Partnering with another company to share the risk associated with a part of the project is advantageous when the other company has the experience the project team does not have. If a risky event occurs, the partner company absorbs all or part of the event's negative impact. Having explained ERM and ERM strategies, let us discuss the relationship and differences between ERM and BCM. Enterprise Risk Management, ERM, versus Business Continuity Management, BCM. Enterprise Risk Management and Business Continuity Management are closely related. The relationship between business continuity and risk management depends on the organization. In most cases, business continuity is a subdomain of risk management. Suppose there is an existing enterprise risk management framework in the organization. Can the company use that in its business continuity planning? Or, should the company create a new risk register and risk assessments for each department inside the business continuity plan? Risk is the central issue in both ERM and BCM. However, enterprise risk management, especially in large businesses, can be focused on direct and indirect impacts on satellite operations. The best approach is a mix of the top impacting risks from enterprise risk management and environmental impact analysis. BCM and ERM complement one another, and both are necessary for today's high-risk business environment. ERM and BCM share the common goals of identifying, assessing, and managing interruption risks that could serve to prevent the achievement of their strategic objectives. Enterprise Risk Management, ERM, focuses on processes developed before a disaster to protect a company from risks by identifying and defining vulnerabilities to minimize their probability. On the other hand, Business Continuity Management, BCM, is about processes designed to be enacted after a disaster. Business continuity management is the process of maintaining business operations during or after an actual disaster, which is executed through the use of business continuity plans. One of the critical differences between ERM and BCM is their approaches. Due to the preventive nature of the ERM programs, enterprise risk management is a primarily strategic undertaking. It focuses on understanding and planning for hypothetical situations. On the other hand, business continuity management is much more tactical. It focuses on how an organization should act when a business disruption occurs. Business continuity management is a subdomain of enterprise risk management, just like information security risk management and health and safety risk management. It is a collection of good management practices linked together. The business impact analysis emanates from an enterprise risk management process. On the other hand, business continuity plan is a series of contingency actions. The business continuity management system framework is the system that stitches activities together. However, suppose we rely on business continuity specialists to manage the company's business continuity. In that case, we create the paradox of being unable to respond when our specialists are unavailable. How enterprise risk management, ERM, and business continuity management, BCM, work together. In many companies, ERM and BCM are often managed by the same team. This is because ERM and BCM are closely intertwined. It is impossible to create a business continuity plan for a risk event if the company doesn't know what risk events are likely to occur. It is also impossible to adequately protect a business against disruption without a plan to address the mishap when it happens. However, if the company has risk managers and business continuity managers, it is necessary to ensure they are best friends. BCM alone cannot protect an organization from all the risk categories. ERM and BCM are critical functions if the company wants to ensure effective business operations. Hence, business continuity professionals should understand the principles in the enterprise risk analysis process to deliver higher levels of value to manage risk likelihood and impact. Additionally, BCM professionals should recognize that they are essential team members focused on managing availability and reputational risk. This will enable companies to manage their risks holistically. Business risk exposures include natural hazards, man-made hazards, financial risks, operational risks, strategic risks, IT risks, and compliance risks. Considering that ERM and BCM are critical functions in a company, it is necessary to discuss the reasons for the separation and the business case for integrating BCM and ERM. The reasons for the separation and the business case for integrating BCM and ERM. While BCM and ERM have overlapping responsibilities, they are typically undertaken by different teams, often in other parts of the organization, using different methodological processes and terminology. An ERM approach typically focuses on corporate objectives and aims to identify firms' potential risks. From the ERM perspective, BCM is usually understood as one of the treatment controls applicable when a threat materializes, causing business disruption. A BCM approach typically focuses on identifying and prioritizing the critical processes and resources supporting the delivery of essential products/services of an organization. It will assess the impacts of a disruption on the approach to identify and prioritize the critical activities for treatment. A BCM plan ensures that an organization can maintain vital activities and processes or recover from mishap events. In the BCM methodology, risks and threats affect vital business processes. From a BCM perspective, ERM is often applicable to significant picture risk issues, too often disconnected from critical processes and resources. The separation of the ERM and BCM functions and activities has some negative consequences for organizations, including 1. Unhealthy competition for the company's limited resources. 2. Double works and efforts to deal with the same risk issues. 3. Resulting in waste and inefficiencies, increased expenses as both programs are expensive. 4. Both approaches have gaps and limitations that create risk black boxes. And 5. Gaps in methodological approaches increase the risk of critical failure in the management risk. I strongly recommend an integrated approach for ERM and BCM. This does not necessarily mean a functional integration, considering the need for the two disciplines to have separate identities that reflect their differences in scope and focus. However, at the same time, it is also necessary to integrate the ERM and BCM methodology and activities within the same risk-to-crisis management lifecycle. This would eliminate the gaps and overlaps, helping to optimize the management of opportunity and risk, thus supporting sustainable and profitable performance. The implication is that a holistic approach to managing risk promotes an integrated system for ERM and BCM. Hence, the need to consider strategies for linking ERM and BCM programs. Strategies for linking ERM and BCM programs. Following a series of well-coordinated ERM and business continuity management integration activities makes it possible to realize the total value of optimized BCM. Some vital integration examples could include: align the BCM program to the ERM program by sharing governance and steering committee members. Obtain ERM input on suggested resiliency improvements and possible recovery strategies to keep the proper focus on cost versus risk reduction benefits. Obtain BCM enterprise interruption impact insight when planning and performing ERM risk scenario analysis. Use the more impactful and likely ERM identified interruption risks as the basis for BCM exercise scenarios. Perform post-interruption event analysis to determine the effectiveness not only of BCM program response capabilities but also of ERM program risk identification and management. Leverage ERM's risk impact information to keep business impact analysis (BIA) interviews focused on relevant impacts of operational process interruption. Use the BCM program's resiliency and recovery capability assessment reporting to improve the ERM program's analysis and reporting of overall risk management effectiveness. Use the more impactful and likely ERM identified interruption risks as the basis for BCM exercise scenarios. Obtain BCM enterprise interruption impact insight when planning and performing ERM risk scenarios analysis. ERM and BCM risk assessment scopes align for areas related to operational interruption risks. Business impact analysis (BIA) results inform management's risk appetite and tolerance decisions. And the BCM program's effectiveness analysis provides a feedback loop to the overall ERM program, providing comfort that resiliency and recovery efforts reduce interruption risk impact. Business impact analysis (BIA) is a significant aspect of business continuity management (BCM). Hence, it is necessary to discuss business impact analysis (BIA). What is a business impact analysis? Business impact analysis (BIA) identifies, quantifies and qualifies the business impact of a loss, interruption or disruption of business activities on an organization and provides the data from which appropriate business continuity strategies can be determined. A BIA helps to identify potential threats at strategic, tactical and operational levels in an organization. BIA enables an organization to understand its critical activities and resources needed to support its essential products and services, understand threats, and select appropriate risk treatments. A BIA is a crucial aspect of a business continuity process that analyzes mission-critical business functions to identify and assess a company's risk exposures. Why should a company do a business impact analysis? The business impact analysis BIA, is a vital aspect of a BCM process. The BIA can review significant strategic changes to ensure thorough decision-making processes. In addition to providing the foundation for BCM implementation, it can also be used to determine the impact of interruption before any significant business restructure. It can be used at the beginning of a BCM process. Business impact analysis, BIA, can also be undertaken before and after a major strategic plan, including introduction of a new product, process or technology, office relocation, new property purchase, change in business's geographical spread, a significant change in business operations, structure or staff levels, and a significant change in new supplier or outsource contact. Purpose of a business impact analysis. Business impact analysis, BIA, is a thorough analysis of the organization. A BIA entails the identification of threats to a company's operations. It facilitates a good understanding of the needs and priorities of the business. BIA can be used to identify the financial and non-financial costs, establish the estimated recovery period, identify necessary materials and records for business recovery and continuity, provide input to the risk assessment on business risks that may not otherwise be identified, raise awareness of BCM, and focus on individuals' responsibilities, possible solutions and costs. Identify dependencies, both internally and externally, required to ensure an effective BCM system. And identify the company's maximum tolerable period of disruption, MTPD, recovery point objectives, RPO, and recovery time objectives, RTO. Maximum tolerable period of disruption, MTPD, refers to the duration after which an organization's viability, either financially or through loss of reputation, will be irrevocably threatened if delivery of a particular product or service cannot be resumed. Recovery point objectives, RPO, are when vital activities of a business unit should be restored following a disruption, for example, dictates how often the company backup data. Recovery time objectives, RTO, are when vital activities must return to business almost as usual following a disruption. Business critical activities. Business critical activities refer to the information needed and the ability to undertake processes that will ensure that the business unit can meet the need to retain and control the business and the business portfolios, retain all necessary compliance and regulatory approvals, retain its distribution base and place in the marketplace, meet essential and urgent customer needs, maintain financial control, retain and potentially continue to develop brand value, meet any requirements in civil and criminal law, and does not lose money, nor fails to meet targets, to the point that, in any stakeholder opinion, a disaster has occurred. Define the organization's critical success factors, CSF, and then identify which business processes support them. Critical success factor refers to areas in which satisfactory results will ensure successful performance for the organization. And after identifying a business critical success factors, CSF, these can be mapped against the various business processes. The business processes that support the most significant number of CSF should be considered a high priority for recovery. BIA is the backbone of business continuity planning and implementation. To ensure a thorough business impact analysis, BIA, an organization must establish the following regarding each business activity. How do the activity impact company and its survival? How does the activity impact the company's profits? How does the activity impact the company image? How does the activity impact the company's most important customers, branches, products, and services? Is it a time-critical activity? Would the activity stop a mission-critical function? Can the customer or user cope without the activity? What alternatives exist to achieve the exact, or acceptable equivalent, deliverables? It is essential to highlight that mission-critical activities are required in the first few days, that is, the priority in business resumption plans. However, It is essential to emphasize that this does not mean that non-critical activities do not require recovery plans. Relevant information or data should be collected for a business impact analysis, BIA. Now, let us discuss BIA data collection methods. Business impact analysis, BIA, data collection methods. Several methods can be used to collect data for a BIA, including 1. Workshops. The workshop can provide rapid results and allow first-hand engagement for those who are going to be involved in the BCM program. 2. Questionnaires. Questionnaires provide large quantities of data but only if the return rate is high, which often is not. Questionnaires also have problems with the accuracy of data, misinterpretation of questions, varying quality and reliability of data, and no ability to investigate answers further. 3. Interviews. Interviews can provide excellent quality information if conducted in a structured way. However, they can be very time-consuming and resource-intensive. 4. Software. Specialist software packages are available to assist with the BIA process, however, they are not essential. Software is suitable for storing and analyzing the data collected, which may be helpful, especially for larger organizations where the quantity of data collected is likely to be substantial. The value of purchasing software will depend entirely on the organization. To learn more about data collection methods, I would suggest that you see my video titled 26 Ways to Identify Risks in Your Organization. Conclusion. This video has discussed Business Continuity Management, BCM. Business Continuity Management, BCM, is a framework for identifying an organization's risk of exposure to internal and external threats. Enterprise Risk Management, ERM, and BCM are closely related. BCM is a framework for identifying organizations' risk exposures, including internal and external threats. It enables a firm to maintain normal business operations during a disaster with minimal disruption. ERM is a holistic framework for managing organizational risk. Business Impact Analysis, BIA, enables an organization to understand its critical activities and resources needed to support its essential products and services, understand threats, and select appropriate risk treatments. A BIA is a crucial aspect of a business continuity process that analyzes mission-critical business functions to identify and assess a company's risk exposures. Organizational resilience consists of a broader scope of organization activities and market operations, including its supply and distribution chains, investors, brands and customers. This indicates that BCM constitutes an essential part of organizational resilience, hence, BCM plays a vital role in building organizational resilience. I hope this video is educative and beneficial to you. Please post your comments below in the comments section. If this video has been educative and beneficial, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Thank you for seeing the Solomon Fadun, Risk Management of Everything videos. We love to hear from you. Please post your comments and questions in the comment section down below. If you are new here, make sure to subscribe to our channel, Solomon Fadun, Risk Management of Everything channel, and press the notification button so you can be notified when we upload new videos. Thank you.